How's everybody doing? It's Paul from Magpie247 back filling in for Ian this week on toonTALK, the weekly podcast from Magpie247. Before we start today, please, if you do not mind, hit that subscribe button on the YouTube page. We had quite a jump in the last sort of couple of days with a few competitions connected to the England games, actually. So it has jumped up a little bit. Thank you for that support. Please do subscribe, though. It doesn't cost anything, but does help the channel out massively. So a like, a comment, and a subscribe is massively appreciated. I hope everybody's okay. How have you found the England games? How have you found a little bit of a break from the domestic grind, as it were? Newcastle United haven't started the season, have they, particularly on fire, certainly domestically. But look, things can turn around. Hopefully the last match, the last result, was the line in the sand, and we see a response when it comes to this game this weekend at St James's Park against Pep and his Manchester City Galacticos. What an absolute embarrassment of riches he has got at his disposal. But hopefully a few players back for Newcastle United will mean a change of fortunes, a change maybe of shape, direction, purpose, the flow, and hopefully we get some points out of the weekend, whether that's 1 or 3. I think at this stage of the game, I think we'll take pretty much anything in this game. Let me know what you think down below. Would you take a point now if I offered you it? Or do you think we need to be targeting the 3 points and getting this season absolutely cooking? Because, as I touched upon, it's been painful. It's been painful. Look, at the end of the day, even the victories that we've got and the victories that we've come by haven't exactly been classics. We're talking domestically. They've been painful. They've not been straightforward. We've relied on good luck or refereeing or whatever. We haven't quite clicked, have we, this season? So it would be good to be able to see some green shoots of recovery possibly at the weekend. So yeah, let me know down below what you think of all of that. But yeah, we'll start with the last game. Brentford, what a disappointing game. And again, it was a bit of a carbon copy of previously against West Ham. You know, you think we're going to do okay. We get the goal. You're hoping that there'll be a response, but ultimately it ends in a 3-1 defeat. So you can dress it up how you want to. Pointless from trips to West Ham and Brentford has to be looked at as a disappointment. The players got an awful lot wrong. So did the manager. But in saying that, that's not saying that I want the manager out, because it seems to me at the moment anybody slightly criticises anything Eddie Howe does, and it's you want Eddie out. Oh, you're against him. You're ungrateful. You've got a short memory. Well, I haven't got a short memory. I've got quite a long memory, and I've seen bad managers, bad players, bad systems, and Eddie Howe is certainly not that. But is he, made of Teflon? Definitely not. Have mistakes been made? Yes, definitely so. And, we're definitely looking for a response from not only the players, but the manager as well, because I do think we got some things wrong last time out. When you're seeing Dan Burn getting skinned and having a mare, he's on a yellow card. He should have given an early spot kick away. Surely, if you're looking beside you, on a limited bench, it must be said, but you've got Lewis Hall there. I would have thought after his cameo midweek in the Champions League prior to that it would have been absolutely the right substitution to be able to make much earlier. Avoid the red card, keep 11 players on the pitch, and you just never know with the quality and how the Premier League goes and how it can go back and forward. You never know what could have happened. Ultimately, we did not. Dan Burn gets sent off. Like you say, he had a mare. He's been struggling at left back for the majority of the time, to be honest. That's no knock with Dan Burn, because he's a centre back playing left back. It's a fish out of water. You wouldn't ask a monkey, would you, to swim, and you wouldn't have a fish to climb up a tree, but you're asking a centre back to play left back, and it's the same sort of thing. I know people will say, look, it's kicking the ball about the pitch, but the level of the Premier League, any small weakness is a weakness, and it's a weakness that's going to be exploited. And time after time, week after week this season, we've seen teams literally from second one of the game, as soon as they get the ball, it's play that ball in behind Dan Burn, in between the left back and the centre back, and try and exploit and cause trouble, and cause the lads to lose confidence, concede goals, all that type of thing. So it's definitely been a struggle, and there's nobody I mean, I'm absolutely more delighted. I mean, for me, a home game is 6 hours solid driving. On a good day, it can be longer. To see Dan Burn listed at left back is a little bit of a frustration, but it's not knocking the lad because for all he's done for us, the cup final goal, the fact that he's gone from literally the bottom of football, being kicked out, working in Asda, worked his way back up, got back to Newcastle United, and then is in the England team. Look, he should be an inspiration and he should be applauded for everything that he's done. And it's not a knock on him, him playing at left back and how the team's performed. But Hall is back and Hall has to play because Dan Burn is suspended. So any sort of Eddie Howe fetish that he's got to try and put in Dan Burn, to shoehorn him into the team, that will be taken away for this game. Obviously, 2 yellow cards, red card, 1 game suspension. He will miss the Manchester City game. So you'd imagine it would be Hall on the left-hand side with no other options. Hopefully that's addressed in January. But with no other options out on the left-hand side of our defence. But Hall coming back is major. Hopefully Livramento, that is the speculation, that is the rumour, he will be back for this game as well. I think Trippier will be alright for it, to be honest. There's even talk about a possible formation change. But if we could have Livramento back and Hall back into this team, I think it changes our fortunes dramatically. And some people will of course say, full back, is it that important? I mean, I remember back in the day, I mean, I wasn't the best, not by a long shot, but when you do get opportunities, it was like, yeah, Paul, you're going at right back. Is that okay? Yeah, so all the good, talented players when we were back at school would play in the advanced, the forward positions, midfield, and so on. And if you weren't that great, you'd get stuck in defence. And if you were probably worse than even the defence, you'd get stuck at right back. So right back, left back. Yeah, I take your point. But in this Eddie Howe system, it is so important because as the midfielders play so narrow, which is a problem we found out recently, those fullbacks do bomb on. And if you look at the goals from last season, and any sort of really successful time that we've had under Eddie Howe, you see Hall bombing on forward, getting the crosses in, Livramento bombing forward, getting the crosses in when need be, Hall tucking into midfield and becoming an extra midfielder. So having those 2 players, don't knock it down how much of an influence and how much of an impact they do have on the team, and them being out for so long has been a blow. There's no doubt about it. One player who may also come back, if not then, certainly within the next couple of games, oh my word, will be Johan Visser. Now, at best, he's going to be on the bench when he does come back, and it's going to take him 4 or 5 games minimum just to get back up to the speed of things. But again, imagine the influence he is going to have on the team. Yes, we've been struggling, but with Hall back, Livramento back, Visser up top, you've got Voltemade again in fine fettle, out scoring for Germany again. He's in great form. He's hit the ground running. He's took to it like a duck to water. And you've only got to see the struggles that some other strikers have had who moved over the summer to appreciate the job even more that Big Nick is doing for Newcastle United. But think about the possibilities when these players are back. Visser and Voltemade up top. You could play Visser out wide right, Voltemade through the middle. You could play 2 up top, potentially drop one of your midfielders and really try to go for it and open up teams more, especially at St James's Park. You're going to have them full-backs, like I touched upon before, overlapping, getting good crosses in, because there's no doubt about it, Hall and Livramento are better crossers of the ball than probably most others that we've got. I know Livramento is really class at it as well, but his legs are going, and I think he's a class player, don't get me wrong, and his leadership is sorely missed when he hasn't been playing. But you need a unit to be able to get up and down, back and forth. And can Livramento at 35 still do that 3 times a week? I doubt. I love Trips though, 1,000,000%. I think he's class. I think we need to keep him about. But ultimately, he's a player to come on off the bench to see a game out. And he's maybe a cup player or a slightly bit part player these days at Newcastle United. But I expect him to get a new contract, to be honest, for 1 more year. But yeah, these players coming back will be huge. We've got a good defence. Yes, there's a question mark over the goalkeeping situation. I hope personally Ramsdale, if you want to call it deputising, I hope he deputises for this game. But for me, I'd like to see him given a run of games, because I think that the defence, when he plays, looks a lot more confident, happier, settled. The centre backs seem to push further up. They've got that trust in Ramsdale that seems to be dissipating slightly with Pope, and it's hard to say that, because at the end of the day, Pope is a quality player. He's got called up for the last England squad, obviously. Concussion protocols ruled him out, but ultimately he is class. There's no doubt about it. He's a class keeper. He's great at shot stopping, but he's continuously sort of fetish almost sort of come out and not catch the ball, get a hand on it, get a strong fist on it, punch it away. His kicking is atrocious despite the work that's been done with the coaches. And the coaches have said 1,000 times, Eddie Howe, they said 1,000 times, we are working on his distribution with Pope, but it gets no better. If anything, it's getting worse. But with Ramsdale, better distribution. I think he's equally good as a shot stopper. And he'll come and he'll catch the ball, and he's a more calming influence on the defence. So I would like to see him in for this weekend, if I'm being honest. But I expect Pope to be in. He's due back. 12 days are up on Friday, so he'll train absolutely fine on Friday. If he gets through that, I think Eddie Howe will go with Nick Pope. Let me know what you think down below. Who would you start? Who do you think that Eddie Howe would go for? Yes, the comments is the place to get all of that down. And then potentially I can do articles and stuff from that based upon what you're saying down in the comments, and keep the discussion flowing. But yeah, this weekend it's going to be a big one. We said for the Brentford game, when we started that, we wanted to see a reaction from the West Ham game. We sort of knew what we'd get in the Champions League, sandwiched in the middle. But we didn't. We didn't see a response from the Brentford game to the West Ham game. Both were equally unacceptable. Both were absolutely honking performances and honking results. And yeah, it's not been good enough. But a team that can, push Barcelona all the way, a team that can get victories in the Champions League against decent opposition, should be more than capable of doing better than what we are at the moment. And certainly in the bigger games this season, I think we've been unfortunate. I think we've been daft. I think there's been errors, crucial errors at crucial times in the game, late errors where you can't respond to. There have been some entertaining, shall we say, games. You're thinking of the Liverpool game, shot ourselves in the foot. Absolutely, I can literally feel myself cringing inside. But, late drama against Arsenal, late drama against Liverpool. We're pushing these sides all the way, and we're just not getting that rub of the green. And you hope that somewhere along the line, maybe this weekend, we get a little bit of that and we show our quality. Because we've shown we're decent against Arsenal, against Liverpool, but we are missing players and we're making daft mistakes. And if we can cut the daft mistakes out, get some of these players that we need back, we can give these other teams more than a decent contest, I feel, across a 90 minutes. And maybe if it was 90 minutes, we wouldn't be talking about the Liverpool game. But that's a different one. We've shown that we are combative, showed that we've got spirit and grit in the team to get back into these games. And possibly Manchester City is a good game this weekend when you think about it like that, because if it was, I don't know, a Crystal Palace at home or somebody like that, would the players get up for it as much? They seem to raise their games for these glamour ties, the Oil Classico this weekend, as it will be. Maybe this is the type of game that we need to be able to come back. After the international break, a good tie, a big tie, so the players can get up, channel even all of the negativity and the frustration and all of that into a good performance, get some points on the board. Who knows? We don't have a great record, do we, against Manchester City, but if we can get a point, or heaven forbid, 3 points from this weekend game, it can be the line in the sand, and we can push on. This team hasn't become bad overnight. This is basically the same team, barring the one obvious change, but this is pretty much the same team that did so well over the last couple of seasons, that won the Cup, qualified for the Champions League twice. Out of the 4 years that Eddie Howe has been here, 2 Wembley finals, the spiel, 1 cup victory. You don't become bad overnight. It's just, I think the players that we've missed are crucial ones, and the squad depth in some areas isn't what it should be. You know, we've still got too many Emil Crafts and Jamal Lascelles is about who aren't being trusted with minutes really in the team. And what you need is when players go out, important key, big names for us. So your Halls of the world, when your Livramentos of the world, when your Visas of the world go out, you need somebody of quality and substance to be able to bring in. And although I think we've done a lot recently with regards to, getting rid of some of the quote unquote deadwood players, and we've done well, we're sort of trying to rebalance some areas. It's still a work in progress, and we still need more. And we're being linked with plenty of names in the press, scouts everywhere. We seem to be targeting youngsters. We want to beef the squad out. We want to balance the squad out. And I think that's needed. It's necessary and it's important to be able to do that. If we can do that, we're going to have a much better second half of the season than we have the first half. And we've got some absolutely mega huge important games coming up. Get a victory, get some points on the board this weekend, and then take that momentum into. I mean, these are the games you want to be involved in. Like some Marseille away is a glamour tie. You should be up for that one. You should be up for this game at the weekend. So get a victory against Manchester City, and it fills your confidence up. Champions League team v Champions League team. So I'm not like, it shouldn't be too much David and Goliath type thing. But, you go into the midweek game and you're thinking, get the result there, a draw or something. I mean, I think we're there or thereabouts. I think we need one more victory in the Champions League to get through to the group stage. The next stage, you know what I mean? The knockout stage. That's the word I'm looking for, the knockout stage. I think we're fine even if we just get the PSV. If we get the PSV victory, I think we're literally home and hosed, to be honest. But get a point, say, against Marseille. Marseille second in the French league, but haven't done great in the Champions League this campaign. I think we're capable of going down there. We've got the players to be able to hurt them. And again, it depends on who is back, who is available, and how many minutes they can do. I caveat that. I take that. But we are capable of going over there. They're not like, the very best. They're a good team. They're to be respected. They're in their own backyard, and we know what that comes with. But I think we've got to go there positive and thinking that we can and we are capable of getting, yes, an away result. But again, let me know what you think about the Marseille game coming up. This is what you want to be in it for. This is what all the hard work was for last season, to get into the Champions League for these types of games and for the games to come thick and fast. But Manchester City this weekend, get something, give yourself that confidence shot. Going into Marseille, again, think we can, at our best. This is all at our best. I know we're so inconsistent, but you've got to look positive. You've got to think positively. Then we're going into a massive game against Everton. There'll be the whole Gordon circus attached to it as well. And hopefully he gets his head a little bit out of his backside, because I think he has been playing within himself a lot recently. He's spoken about a lot of the psychological and difficulties he's had in that perspective recently. But again, if you're Gordon, you've got Manchester City at home. You've got Marseille away in the Champions League, and then you've got Everton, your old side, who you've got a massive point to prove against. And all we need is the sort of England type performances. And we need them running into players, running into the channels, running into the box. We don't need them running into players, dropping to the floor. Poor body language. We don't need any of that, but we do need a fully firing Gordon back. So fingers crossed about that one as well. Harvey Barnes is about as well, obviously. But yeah, 3 huge games in a week there. Manchester City and Everton in the Premier League, and Marseille away in the Champions League. And then that sets us up for Spurs at home. Obviously, we've got a victory over them recently. So you'd like to think, again, it'll be a close game. Tottenham are a great side, good manager. But again, we're capable of beating them again. You've got to think that. And then that takes you into Burnley at home, Leverkusen away, which again, what a fantastic game that will be. Before Fulham in that massive match in the quarterfinals of the League Cup that you're defending. So again, that should give you another confidence boost, another shot in the arm. I know these games are coming thick and fast. And yeah, I've left one out there in the middle, and that's a huge game against Sunderland, because I want to touch upon that a little bit. But just before the quarter final of the League Cup, we'll be taking on Sunderland. And again, you go there. Yeah, they've had a good start. They've played one or two decent teams, but they've not played everybody. They've got that bounce, the confidence of coming up, the newness of it all. That will start to wear off. I'm pretty confident of it. You know, they've had a great start of the season, but all they're banging on about is Newcastle United. So, look, we've got Champions League. We've got a lot of now played at the moment. I think we'll have a better second half of the season than we did first. We have the last couple of seasons, haven't we? Started slowly and got better. But that is a massive game. And again, talking about confidence, you get a result over there and a massive confidence boost that will be. And again, yes, we're so up and down. I get that. We've played some crap stuff, but also at the same time, we're more than capable of going down the A19 and coming back with points on the board, whether that's a draw or a victory. We are capable. I think we're capable definitely of getting the victory over there. And that a victory like that in a game like that, again, can be massive for us, a massive confidence boost for us. And again, it can just cast a little bit of doubt over on our near and old rivals down the A19. And it can have a negative effect on their season. So there's nobody counting chickens before the hatch at the moment. And I think Sunderland would be wise not to do that. Are they going to do an Ipswich? Do you remember? It was Ipswich, wasn't it? Had a great first season quite a few years ago now. Came up, finished in Europe. The next season, literally tanked it. Couldn't deal with the fixtures, the midweek stuff and all of that, and ended up going down. Could be. But no, Sunderland could be not as well. So, yeah, you can't imagine Sunderland, can you, in Europe? That would be very, very, very peculiar. And they've got a long way to go. They've got a busy month in December. They've not had the relentless schedule, but they will have it for at least a month or so. So let them get used to that. See how the results go then. If they get through December and they're still in European contention, then possibly, as bad as that may sound, they may start pushing to try and get into a top 10 or a top 8 or, you know, a conference league or whatever. But see how it goes. I still think we will be there or thereabouts. And some of you might say that's delusional and stuff based upon the current form. But I just know that generally Newcastle United start poorly and finish strongly. Last season in December we were 12th and finished with a cup and the Champions League. We're not a million miles away from that now. So, still 1,000% behind Eddie Howe. Even if you critique Eddie Howe and some of the substitutions he's made, like the Lewis Hall one with Dan Burn at the Brentford game, you can critique him. He will make mistakes. He is human. But, look, still 1,000,000% behind him and still totally convinced that he will lead us to yet another good season and hopefully get into some sort of European competition. That's what it's about. Some sort of European competition, keeping that going so we're getting used to playing in Europe every single season. And then who knows in the Cups? Quarterfinals, like I touched upon before already in the League Cup. And you just never know. How good would it be to get back to Wembley and defend the League Cup? Some people have been saying, "Oh, it's not a priority, not a priority." It's a priority for me. You know, I've waited for so fucking long for the taste of glory, to see silverware, to see us lift a cup. That day, it's etched in the back of my brain all the time. I watch it probably every other day, the highlights of it back, the goals, the songs, the crowd videos, all that sort of thing. Watch it back religiously. And yeah, I would be desperate to get back and have another day like that. And if there's some people who think it's not a priority, that's fine. If we get to the final, then yeah, go shopping with the missus or something like that on Cup final day, because there'll be absolutely thousands and thousands of people desperate to get back to London, desperate to get back to Wembley, and desperate for us to defend the League Cup and everything else that comes with that. And obviously as well, that is another entry into a European competition. And who are we to sniff at even the thought of any European competition, and especially the chance of winning more cups? It's all about progression and it's all about growing as a club. So yeah, lots of opportunities to turn things around. We've got big games coming up even after the Fulham game. We've got Chelsea at home, Manchester United away on Boxing Day before a trip to Turf Moor to take on Burnley. So look, there is a lot of panic, and I understand it. I'm concerned, but I'm not at panic stations yet. And that's where I feel at the moment. I can see that even when we're getting victories, we're not playing very good football. We're doing the bare minimum. We're not good to watch on the eye. But the best person to repair the Newcastle United machine is the man who made the Newcastle United machine, the man who's already provided miracles. First season, we were doomed for relegation, balls deep in relegation. And the bloke saves us. He performs a minor miracle. We should have gone down that season. We didn't. He can defy expectations. He can get players to run through brick walls. He has players coming back very, very shortly. That will strengthen his arm. Results will come. The player will get better. We will start to score more goals. Vista coming back will be big and important to that. But also Asula, who's missed the last couple as well. He'll be on the bench. It was an absolute handful to be able to bring on as a quality substitute later on in games, to be able to stretch games and change games. So, look, what I'm saying is just have a little bit of faith, a little bit of confidence, a little bit of it. It'll be okay in the end. I know many, many, many people in the comments on Magpie247 have been alarmed, have been concerned, have been upset. And it's okay to be all of that. But just know it's sort of like in Eddie Howe, we do trust. The man delivered the cup. The man broke the curse. The man got that monkey off our back. He can walk on the River Tyne. I said on Sky Sports earlier in the week, I said he can have my bank card and chip and pin number anytime he wants, because the bloke is to be trusted and to be respected and to be appreciated. And I think we'll all continue to be able to do that. His name will be sung loud and proud. I was on the ticketing website today, and even for the Burnley game, I think it was, that went on today, over 40,000 people fighting it over the rest of the tickets. You know, that shows you the appetite and the hunger and the desire. Everybody wants us to get back on track, back okay. But look, it will do. It will do with time. It's been hard. I accept it's been hard. It's been unacceptable at times. Some of the players haven't performed. The formation hasn't worked. Mistakes have been made with substitutions. Starting teams have maybe not always been the best. But like I say, Eddie Howe is far more qualified, and the coaching team have been magnificent. Are way better than what anybody else can come up with. So look, let's give him time. Even if it doesn't go well over the next couple of fixtures, he will turn it around. It's just a matter of when, I'm sure. And I'm also sure that, look, he's got huge, huge, huge support in the fan base for what he's doing. And, be under no doubt, the work will have been relentless. He's a detailed sort of person. So over this international break, he'll have been scouring over videos, performance data, sports science, looking at the running, stats, who's doing what, who isn't doing what. And there could well be changes at the weekend. As I touched upon earlier on today in the podcast, there's rumours that we may drop to play five at the back. We may put wing backs, if that's Livramento and Hall on one side, and a back three, or Chow. I keep singing this song all over the place. Supermarket, shopping, going to school, doesn't matter what. Keep singing Chow, Chow, Chow all the time. But back to it. If we go three at the back, then I think Fabian Schär may come in to the defence. Obviously, we've got no Dan Burn, so it'll be Schär, Botman, and Malik Chow 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 at the back. You would hope Hall would be started. Fingers crossed about that one. And on the other side, if Livramento is fit, I would put him back in. If not, it will be Trippier on that side. And then from there, it's just about building the rest up. There's all the question marks. Elanga, he's come out of the Sweden squad. He's come back early, dealing with personal issues. Is he ready? Is he available? Do you want somebody more workman-like and industrious than maybe Jacob Murphy? Perhaps you do. You would think that Harvey Barnes would keep his place in the team as well. Let me know what you think about that one. Or does Gordon walk straight back in? He likes Gordon, doesn't he, Eddie Howe? He likes him a lot. And you can understand why when he plays to the best of his games. But, 21? Is it 21? I think it's 21 without a goal, there or thereabouts. 19 without an assist, there or thereabouts. Look, if he hadn't scored in a couple of games, it would be unacceptable. So Gordon will know that himself. and Gordon will know the fixtures that are coming up very shortly as well. And again, he's wanting to prove a point, isn't he? So let's hope he channels that into goals and assists. But let me know what you think the rest of the team will be. If we go that 5 at the back, I would personally put Ramsdale in goal. Who else would you go with? So you've got your 5 at the back. You've got your goalkeeper. Tonali will play. Lots of speculation about he's being sent home injured. I think it's just to rest up aches and strains and pains and that sort of thing. And I think it's just to protect him from the risk of any sort of suspension, basically. So Tonali will play, Bruno will play. So there's your 7 and 8 players, and then up front, it's got to be, you'd imagine, Voltemada. I don't think would he? No, nobody would do that. You don't know whether he's had games behind closed doors with Sadia, but I doubt he'll be thrown in at the deep end. It'll be Voltemada up top, and he's been fine and banging them in for Germany. Hopefully he can get one for us in this game. And then you would think Jake and Murphy on one side, and then on the other side, if Gordon's fit, he's going to go Gordon, isn't he? But personally, I would go Harvey Barnes. But again, let me know your team down below. Who would you play? Who would you give the start to? And what changes would you make in the second half as well? Do you start with 5 at the back or wing backs or whatever you want to call it, and then change it to the 4-3-3 that we're sort of more known for as you're going through into the match? Do you try and keep it nice and tight? If we were to fall behind, then change the formation? Or yeah, let me know what you think down below. What's Eddie going to go with? What would you go with? Personally, I think he'll go with the 5 at the back, and I think he'll try and have Tonali drop a little bit deeper, allow Bruno to get forward, spring those little sort of slide rule passes in to the likes of Jake and Murphy, and probably Gordon on the other side if he's recovered from the hip injury, and then hopefully Voltemada gets the service that he's had for Germany, because if you had seen the crosses, absolutely on a plate, brilliant crosses, that's the service that he needs. We need to see more of that at St James's Park for Newcastle United, and he will get goals. He will get goals. He knows where the back of the net is, and he's had such a fantastic start. But we've got to be confident. We've got to go there with the mentality of we can get the victory this weekend. It won't be easy, but we need to make it not easy for them. Not give them the ball. Keep the ball. Don't give it away in stupid places. Retain as much possession as possible. Make them work and exploit the set pieces, which we haven't done enough yet. Look, land of the giants we are, and we're not scoring enough for me from corners, from free kicks. We're not causing enough trouble. So that needs to end. And hopefully this weekend it can be the beginning. We can hopefully score a couple of goals, and everybody will feel a damn sight better. I'm going to leave it there because I do have some other videos that I am working on. I just wanted to get this one in there, done, and up onto all of the socials and stuff as well. But look, just to summarise, it's been a bad start. There's no doubt about it. There's been some bruised egos. There's been a little bit of shock and disbelief. But you know, we've had bad times before. We've had bad starts. We've recuperated, we've regathered, we've drawn the line on the sand, we've come back better, we've got the points, we've got the progress, we've done well in other competitions. We can do it again. Eddie Howe is the man to be able to, you know, affect the change, to learn from what has gone on before and to correct it going forward. I've got no doubt about that as well. Yeah, mistakes have been made by absolutely everybody. Nobody goes through life without making any mistakes at all. But we'll come back stronger. The players will have a point to prove. The players will be hurting just as much as what we are. I've no doubt about that as well. I think Bruno said as much in one of his social media posts after the Brentford game. So let's look for the reaction. Let's make it an absolute bear pit that their players don't like, to be able, you know, to try and play their nice little fancy passing game and stuff like that. Let's make it a bear pit. Let's make it nasty. Let's make it aggressive. Again, no beef really with Manchester City. I think Pep handles himself far better than what the likes of Ruddy Lego head Arteta does. But the need is great. The need is great, and the time is now. So I'll leave it there. Subscribe to Magpie247. Hit that like. Get your comments down below about your team. about how you feel the rest of the season's going to go. It's been a little bit of a therapy session, this one, but normal service will be resumed in a week's time when Ian returns back onto the podcast, and I might just make an appearance on there. I'll be doing me before and after the Manchester City voice notes and stuff as well. I think I needed them for the last game against Brentford because I was venting and I was upset and it was very, very raw. But you know, we've been in tough times before. We'll come through it, lads. There's no doubt about it. We will come through it, and there will be brighter times ahead for the rest of the season. We'll leave it there. Take care, keep it tuned, and I'll speak to you later.
Join us Monday for toonTALK, a Newcastle United podcast from Magpie247.